Mhm.
Sal Cosenza and his family have known Craig and visited the gallery for years. We started showing Sal when he was a young high school student artist, and since then, Sal has earned a master's degree in architecture. His pieces typically portray skyscrapers, often depicting human like activities and emotions. He often plans out his paintings in multiple sketches, sometimes referencing photographs, articles, and historic literature. This calculated approach has led to his very intricate subject matter. We always joke with Sal suggesting he paints using one-haired paintbrushes, which help him get every tiny detail of his pieces. Now, Sal is a professor at Arizona State University where he teaches the history of interior design. We're hoping to continue the art walk soon so Sal and his uplifting personality can return to the gallery.
Today we'll be interviewing Sal Cosenza. Sal, thank you for sitting down and talking with me today.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Of course. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Are you ready to start?
I think so. Let's do this.
So first of all, how did you find out about the gallery, and what was your initial experience like with Craig?
Wow. Well, so I needed bail money, and no, that's not true. My first experience with Craig goes all the way back to, I think, 2003, somewhere around there. I was in high school. I was in Visions. I was having visions. No, it was a program called Visions, led by Janet Blum, who we probably all know, right? She was my great art teacher. She introduced us to Craig. We would walk in to Art One as like wide-eyed, bushy-tailed little, kiddies, like wondering, like, this is so professional, and like, will I ever be in here? Like, that was the idea, that we would, it was a welcoming place, like Craig and at the time, and you guys still are, but I mean, it was just like this feeling of you could walk in. You don't have to be an expert. It's not like a pretentious place at all. So one of my first memories was meeting Craig that way. And then we had our Visions final, pin up, whatever, final show at the end of the year. And I did this very tall painting. It was a self-portrait. It was very egotistical. It was a big picture of me as a building, and the name of it was Tower of Sal, but it has since collapsed. No, but he looked at, I remember he walked up to it because he attended the event. He looked at it. He said, "This is great. Would love to, have you come to Art One and kind of talk about maybe showing stuff." So I was like, holy cow, like this is really happening. Like, so ever since, I mean, you guys have been so nice to me all these years, like allowing me to show stuff. I don't even have to, I just bring it in. It's just like, there's no, well, this wouldn't work for us, like I've never stormed out. It's unbelievable.
You've never gotten mad. You come in and you harass us every
Yeah.
Thursday,
I come in, I tell annoying jokes, and I leave. I mean,
like in the contract at this point, pretty much.
Yes, the jokes have to be a certain level of humor, but no further, I do comedy. I don't make people laugh. There's a huge difference. So that was funny. Anyway.
You don't get paid for this comedy.
No, this is all gratis. The comedy is the work that I do. I mean, that's funny.
It is.
Right? Like, it's a joke. No, it's not.
Okay, so.
Did I answer your question? How did I meet Craig? Yes. Or how did I get familiar with Art One? Yeah, so I mean, it was just ever since high school. It was an amazing opportunity that I'm really grateful for. To this day, you guys are just a rock, an institution in Scottsdale in the Valley. May you continue to be there for 26 more years and more, right? And you provide a level of culture to this area that is otherwise lacking, I think. Also, a level of accessibility for young artists, right, which you guys continue to do. local artists, people who are like unsure of themselves as am I worthy enough to show my work in a public space, right? You guys are clearly saying, yes, you are, come in.
How has showing in a gallery changed the way you view art and the others around you?
What's nice about it is that you get a sampler of what's going on in the world, right? Because so many times we're stuck in our studio, we're looking at a painting that we created or we're working on, right? It's all we, me, right? And then it's refreshing to finish it, to put it on a wall, and then to see it within that context, because you have a neighboring piece of art right next to it that's a totally different philosophy, visual aesthetic, visual approach, story, right? And you're wondering now, like, how did that generate? Who's the person behind that one? And then, what was nice about coming into the gallery and painting was you would meet, you would put a face to the artist. So I met a lot of the artists over the years, and we would kind of talk shop, right? And it's nice to kind of get inside their heads and vice versa. Well, I don't know if they want to get in this head, but it's nice to kind of get that perspective, because so many times we're locked into this little bubble, I think, right? Between us and this surface, whatever it is, this blank page, right? So that's the benefit, I think, of exhibiting.
When did you discover your love for painting?
Well, I think earlier than high school, somewhere, I actually started in ASU's children's art workshops as a youngin. My parents, I remember they would drive me there, and it was like a Saturday morning class. That would have been around like 1998, somewhere around there. I started acrylic painting. And I stuck with acrylics. I've tried the others. I never really got comfortable with oil. But acrylic painting, there's just something about it for me. I don't know if it's whether or not you could kind of see the result right after, like 5 minutes after, because it's dry, right? It has this. I also like the kind of matte look of it, like the fact that it's not like a glistening, shiny painting, because for me that was always a distraction. I don't know why, but I like the work to be flat so that you just see what was created. There's no, like, the light source does not have a role in it. Mm-hmm. But some people love that, and some people don't mind it, right? But for me, that was always kind of an issue. So I keep going back to acrylics.
Does your artwork represent you in any way? And if it does, in what way?
It's very personal, actually. Some of it might not look so autobiographical, but much of it is. I think if you scratch any painter, or they might say the same thing. I'm fairly sure, because it's just, it's an extension of yourself, of your feelings. When I was in New York, I had certain events occur that kind of shaped the work that was coming out, right? Even if it wasn't like a blatant like self-portrait or anything of that nature, still you could see like themes, some dark, some light, it was kind of a reflection of the time. And it still continues to be, I think, especially now, because you have, the global events that have transpired right over the past few months. I think that's definitely having a say in the stuff I'm working on, right? Whereas 5 years ago, it would be the same kind of situation, right? Whatever the context, the background was. Mm-hmm. It was a very long-winded response, but yes, it's pretty personal to me.
Yeah. Have you always painted so small and small details? One hair to paint with?
I knew that this would be. So the problem there is the issue is that I took architecture in ASU, right? And then I continued it in New York. So um, they teach you a certain level of precision, things like terms like craft, right? Which I was never used to that term. I think what happened was there became an overlap between my paintings and the architecture and that process of creating like a floor plan of something, right? Or looking at these like beautiful architectural renderings, like old school renderings from like Hugh Ferris from like the 30s, right? Where it's this blend of rendering, art, right? All kinds of visual media coming into the same drawing. So that's why I use small brushes. Now, I think I'm always trying to achieve a level of detail in the work that I'm never going to get to, but it's like it's without being an egotist about it. I'm a perfectionist in that regard. Like I strive for, I think I like my work to be seen from like 2 inches away, but also 5 feet away.
Mhm.
So it has to work in both realms, right? So I think the small brush, like it would always irk me when I would paint with like a, a normal larger brush. I just can't. It's something up here. It's some kind of block telling me like, no, you got to make that like a fine, precise edge, right? You got to like, so
That
it's,
architectural background, it's like you can't use this big
yeah,
chunky thing. You got to use this small little pencil.
it's Frank Lloyd Wright on my shoulder, with his cape going, no, but
How did you come up with the personified buildings in the New York series?
so the idea there is to give life to buildings. So that term is anthropomorphism, right? Which to this day, don't ask me how to spell it and don't ask me how to say it 5 times fast because every time it's a disaster. But it's a very intriguing idea to me. The idea of providing life to inanimate objects, right? We see it in Pixar, right? We've all seen Toy Story. So one of my like running gags, running themes as a painter is to personify these buildings in various situations. So that's one series which is a little more jovial. I have another one which is playing with the same kind of idea, but it's presented in a much more uh, brooding and serious way, right? And I think the rest of my work that's not part of those series are also kind of following some kind of anthropomorphic tendency. Um, I'm the worst at painting human beings. Like, I can't do a portrait worth my life. Like, everyone I've done, like, I would give them to someone and they would go, it's nice. Or they would go, I know just where to put this.
Yeah,
But
trash.
yeah, so that's why like I'm drawn to animating the inanimate all the time, and I like to imbue a level of personality into them. So like for me, like Empire State Building, you know, depending on what series I'm working on, he's usually like in charge, but he's fragile deep down. Chrysler Building is like publicly exuberant. She's out there, but also she's got a level of a personal level that she doesn't let anyone in on, right? And so it's interesting to kind of personify things that we're all used to, right? Like New York buildings. We've all seen pictures of New York, right? So how do you give them how do you flesh them out as characters is a challenge for me, something I continue to etch away at.
My last question is, aside from painting, you're also a professor at ASU. How has it been with this shift in, the world? How has it been teaching over Zoom like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's been painful at times, welcoming at other times. I think, you know, by now, by hook or by crook, we're all getting used to it, the students and the teachers, right? I think it's just the new world that we're in. Of course, you miss out on that one-to-one kind of like level of intimacy that is gone, right? So a lot of things are lost in translation. But it's also interesting to see how we can change as a people, right? How, you know, we could continue. Just because we're not all in the same spot right now doesn't mean that ideas could still be shared. So it's really interesting to teach under this kind of umbrella, right? And you know, I'm fairly new to it, but it's working. It's working out. I thank you for this opportunity. I
Oh,
do want to be on record that
you said that.
I'm grateful for you guys, and I really am. And you guys are hard workers. It's tough right now. I urge you to stay strong, to stay creative, right? I love this kind of thing that you guys are doing, this art one show. What an idea, right? It's great because it also allows people to get inside the minds of the artists. So, you know, I'm rooting for you, and I'm grateful for you, and I thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And I thank you for sitting down and talking with me. It's been so long. I haven't seen you in forever. So it was good seeing
Likewise. Likewise. Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Stay
Sal.
well.
See you soon. You too.